From Greenwood Christian Academy on the south side of Indianapolis, on the south side of Greenwood, actually, you've got IHSAA boys basketball action on IndianaSRN. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Morales Group, building better futures one story at a time. By Burtner Electric, your licensed and experienced electrician serving Central Indiana. IU Sports Management, a lifetime of sports with a winning degree. Piper Logistics, 3 services, 1 logistical solution, and by Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown farm equipment dealer. Good evening, everybody. Alongside Troy Jarangowski, I'm Kurt Darling. Troy, needless to say, this is a tale of 2 teams, believe it or not, and to put it quite frankly, it is very, very different on paper. Greenwood Christian Academy coming into this game 8-9, coming off of a loss to Central Christian just the night before. Final score on that one at 62-45. Meanwhile, Providence Cristo Ray on the other side of the coin, they're still looking for their first win of the season, dropping now to 0-11 after losing to Bloomington Lighthouse by 10 points last night. Final score on that one, 44-34. Needless to say, one team looking to try and rebound from a loss, the other team just trying to rebound for the entire season.
You know, motivation in a lot of these teams, like Greenwood Christian, you lose a tough game like you did last night, you're glad you get to play the next night because you really do kind of forget about that game other than losing. Providence Cristo Ray, we've had them several times this year, and they really do have some issues. I mean, we could go through the entire gamut of what they don't do well, but they've got some pieces if they can put them all together. And what I mean by that, I've had several of their games where they just don't have all of their players, including the last time they played on the road at Chittard. They got out to a 4-0 lead without 4 of their other players, and they ended up losing the ball game, naturally would be. But they got to find a way to get points on the board. They just don't score a whole lot with a basketball. The other side of it is they do turn the ball over a lot, and they really can't do that tonight if they expect to stay in the ball game and give themselves a chance in the fourth quarter.
Providence Cristo Ray, the Wolves averaging around 45 points per contest on offense, meanwhile giving up 74, which is certainly not one of the numbers that you want to see in your stat column. Meanwhile, Greenwood Christian Academy, on the other hand, just trying to limp into the postseason, even though they have been going up and down. Their largest winning streak of the season has been as many as 4 games, going back to between December 28th and January 7th. One of those, all the 3 of those 4 games were actually on the road. So needless to say, this is a team that knows how to win when they want to, but it's a matter of consistency for this team.
Well, and to tell you what, when they do put it together, and we've had some of the games where they've really, really played well, and they do play well at home, and that's one thing you'll probably see here tonight, especially after the loss last night. They've got guys who can shoot. You talk about the 2 Reed brothers, Ian and Noah. They both shoot well from 3. If you don't get out on them, they will hurt you badly. Max Boer's another guy that can play out on the perimeter, so you got to find which one of those 3 guys you're going to try to stop tonight. And then, of course, you got Tyke inside, and he can go to the outside. He's a very versatile player. They just got so many different weapons that when you look at their record, you think how they won game under 500. They do play some pretty good basketball teams. We've watched them when they do play well, and I think they will tonight. They're a very tough team to stop.
It's also a testament how they're managing to hover right around 500 while learning a brand-new system under first-year head coach Jackson Williams.
Well, and it's tough, and you saw at the beginning of the year they lost their first 2 games. They won a couple, and then they lost like their next 5 games. So when you're a new head coach and you're trying to put in that new system, get everybody to understand what you're expecting. You got to really know your role as a player and as a coach and what you're going to expect from those players. It takes a little bit of time to get things put together. Now the idea is for Greenwood Christian, get themselves ready for tournament play because now they played 17 games. They might have 5 games left or so. They've got to be ready for that tournament right around the corner.
This broadcast is copyrighted by IndianaSRN and the Indiana High School Athletic Association for the private use of our audience. The use of pictures, video, and audio without the expressed written permission of the IHSAA is strictly prohibited. Back with more of the pregame show sponsored by Hoosier Basketball Magazine here in just a little bit. You're watching IHSAA Basketball on IndianaSRN. Welcome back to the pregame show sponsored by Hoosier Basketball Magazine on IndianaSRN as the Wolves of Providence, Cristo Ray gets set to take on Greenwood Christian Academy here at the Cougars Den here on the south side of Greenwood. The Greenwood Christian Academy Cougars playing out of the Pioneer Conference, and they right now have not won a conference game at all this season. This is not a conference game tonight, but needless to say, they are well back in the South Division of the Pioneer Conference, and with just a few games to play, they still have a couple of more conference games left to play, but they also have the Pioneer Conference playoffs to deal with coming up on February 12th here in just a couple of weeks' time. Meanwhile, Providence Cristo Ray, they are an independent team. They do not play in any conference, but they do share a sectional with Greenwood Christian Academy. So, needless to say, this is going to be a good test for Greenwood Christian to kind of scout out some possible sectional talent here coming up here when we get to the postseason.
You know, there's no better scouting report than playing a team live. You get a really good opportunity to see everybody, no matter what they can or can't do. And I know as a head coach before, at that time we were still doing film instead of what you can do with all the different avenues you have now. But seeing teams get tendencies and all of that, so that's why this is a really key game if you do play them in the tournament.
Indeed it is. And so, talking about how this team has gone so far, it's been up and down. They've had a losing streak as many as 4. They've had a winning streak as many as 4. But if you look at the schedule here for Greenwood Christian Academy, it's almost a mirror image of itself. Before they lost to Central Christian, they had lost to start the season. Well, they had won to end the season going up until their previous game against Central Christian. They're back at home again tonight, and believe it or not, it's another good testament to see that for Greenwood Christian, you only have one more road game on the season. The rest of that are all home games. That's certainly a good way to end the season going into the postseason.
Well, you talk about from December 28th on, and you've alluded to this, how many road games they have had. This probably feels like a road game tonight because they haven't seen this gym, it feels like, in such a long time. So it's nice to be home. There's nothing better, especially after a loss last night to Central Christian, but to come back and play in your home floor. And if I may add, their schedule has not been easy. I mean, they played a lot of up teams when you talk about teams in the 4A, 3A ranks, and that really does prepare you for what's going to happen in the tournament as well.
You talk about the 500 record that they had before last night's loss, but also they're pretty much 500 in the defensive-offensive scoring average, giving up 53 points a game, also scoring 53 points a game, are Greenwood Christian. So needless to say, if you're going to be consistently 500, you have to be consistent at something, right?
Well, that's true, and you like that, but I'll tell you what, I'd love that scoring average to be up just a little bit more. I don't mind the 50 points on the defensive side, but I need to get a little more offense sometime down the road.
Providence Cristo Ray, this is a team that has really fallen on hard times considering just a lot of the success that they actually had just a few seasons ago. The Wolves went 20-5 back in 2019 and 2020. So needless to say, going winless so far, it's really uncanny to see how big of a 180 this program has taken.
Well, and it's tough when you have a winning program like that, or you have a winning season, then you turn around and find things aren't quite as good. It's tough to get it turned around, and then you've got a new head coach, and he's coming in trying to turn it around as well. It can be a real struggle at times, and we've seen that this year.
Indeed, it can be. Pre-game show sponsored by Hoosier Basketball Magazine. We will pause for the national anthem, coming back with keys to the game and opening tip. Coming up next here on IndianaSRN.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
You want a career that creates experiences that are impossible to forget. By studying sports and events at IUPUI, you'll get hands-on experience in and out of the classroom. And with Indy as your classroom, there are high-profile events, sports franchises, hotels, museums, and large organizations across the city to engage, educate, and enlighten your student journey before you graduate. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to prepare you to handle any event, big or small. It all starts here.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. His land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Back live here at Greenwood Christian Academy as we get introduced to the starters for tonight's contest. As you see, you're going to be seeing plenty of different teams here and plenty of different players for Providence Cristo Rey. Juan Cabanas is going to be getting a start tonight here with number 15, and as well as we got a number 23 on our roster. I don't know. I can't quite figure out who that's going to be, but needless to say, Greenwood Christian Academy going to be going off with their usual starting lineups. You're going to be seeing Aiden Sloan going along with Ian Reed, Noah Reed, Max Boer, and Matt Tyke going to be the starters tonight. Of course, Troy, you've had these guys a couple of times before this season. What makes Greenwood Christian Academy so good whenever they are good and on when it comes to both sides of the floor?
Well, they do shoot the ball well, and if you leave them open, you will regret it eventually because they have so many different players that can play out on the perimeter. You're going to have to rebound tonight, too, because Tyke will get inside. He can move inside, outside. They will crash the boards all night long, and that's a big key for them. And they'll defend well. There's no doubt about that. They're going to be up in your grill. They'll mix things up if they have to. We've seen them do that all season long. So they'll do a lot of different things tonight to get a win.
So what does Providence Cristo Rey have to try and do to just not even, if they can try and, compete for a win tonight, what do they have to do to at least try and have a good performance here this evening?
They can't turn the ball over. And last time we saw them against Chittard, they got off to a 4-0 lead, and they seemed to relax from there, and they really did not respond very well. In fact, at some points, when you watch them play, they almost seem like they were disinterested, so they can't turn the ball over. The offense is going to be a big thing. I know I say this, they got to rebound big time tonight as well. And the last time we had them, 4 of their players didn't play, and I'm not anticipating that I see them out on the floor again here tonight. That'll be a big key.
Opening tip controlled by Greenwood Christian Academy. Matt Tyke gets the tip, and it's controlled now by Noah Reed. And he'll move it right inside, and Tyke crashing the boards right there and getting an easy lay-in.
Well, we mentioned Tyke in the pregame. He's a guy who can work inside, and he will destroy you if you don't find a way to guard him a little bit better.
And so Providence Cristo Rey going to work it up the floor here as Javion Newell will work it back outside to Johnson. And he gets a no-look pass outside to Jordan Stratton. That 3 ball does not fall. And it's going to be forced out of play, and it'll go out of bounds, and it will be Greenwood Christian Academy basketball.
A lot of times you'll see Providence Cristo Rey settle because they don't have a whole lot of offense, and they'll just kind of go with whatever they have. They got a couple of guys who can shoot from the outside. We'll talk about that more as we go.
Reed kicking it back outside now to Max Boer. He splits the defenders. Another lay-in for GCA. And so the Cougars getting some good rhythm here in the early going.
And you'll see them as they're doing right here. They're doing a lot of trapping early. They're going to slow things down for PCR and make them work in the half court.
B.J. Johnson trying to spin inside, puts it off the glass, just a little bit off the mark. And so you can certainly see Providence Cristo Rey is going to try and work it inside, but back the other way quickly, Matt Tyke.
Yeah, that's twice now, Tyke. They've gotten all 3 of their buckets inside, and PCR is going to have to do a much better job when it comes to that interior defense.
Got a foul coming up here. It's going to be on Greenwood Christian Academy. That will be Noah Reed picking up his first, the team's first. 21. And so it stays on this side of the floor.
Well, and they can gamble because I believe they know they can turn this PCR team over quite a bit tonight, and they're deeper on their bench as well.
And they poke it back out trying to force another turnover, but instead they're going to get, looks like Max Boer with a little slap on the wrist for foul number 2 on the team.
Well, one thing about PCR, too, they're going to have to count on Anthony Hayes, a guy who hit 3 3-pointers in that game against Chittard. He got hot early, and then once Chittard really started to clamp down on him, they really shut him down. But the best athlete on the floor, B.J. Johnson, they got to get him going.
And speaking of Johnson, he tries to push it inside. He kicks it back out. And back up here is B.J. Johnson. He goes along the baseline, leaves it underneath to Newell, and tries to put it up. It does not go.
Yeah, see, that wasn't a bad look right there, but they got to do a better job of getting an earlier look in the offense because once they start breaking down, they don't do a very good job of returning and getting back to what they do best.
Working under 6 minutes right now as a shot just goes off of the mark there from, looks like that was Noah Reed.
Well, I think they ended up getting Tyke right there, if I'm not mistaken, on a moving screen. That's something that the officials really have countered on this year and said, you know what, we got to make sure we call this more often, and that's what happened there.
Actually, looks like they have Aiden Sloan as getting the foul up on the scoreboard, so that'll be his first and team foul number 3, so he may have been in there on that play with Tyke.
Yeah, they were both very close together in that play.
That helps us a little bit until we get this guy to get out of here. Don't get comfortable.
Moving it up court now is going to be Johnson, and he gets his pocket picked there by Reed.
And that's one thing, again, you're giving yourself an opportunity to get in the offense. You're careless with the basketball, and they will really have to cut down on the turnovers tonight in order to win.
Tyke pushes it back out to Boer. He fires a 3. That's just off the mark. It goes out of play, and it will stay with GCA.
You know, we mentioned the last game you had Holmes, Beverly, Driver, and Kurtz did not play, and Kurtz at 6'6", not in the lineup, and that really hurts Providence Cristo Rey.
Well, especially since they already have enough of a lack of size. Now you lose your tallest player on your roster.
And they have no depth on the bench right now at all.
Noah Reed pushes it into the corner, inside to Tyke, tries to spin, puts it up, and kisses it right off the glass. More like of a clank off the glass. Either way, Matt Tyke has a quick 6 points to start things off here for the Cougars.
Yeah, and they haven't missed a shot yet. Everything's been right there in the paint.
B.J. Johnson, and they're going to get a charging foul here on Johnson as he came in just a little too hot here, so that'll be the first foul on Providence Cristo Rey of the evening.
Yeah, really easy call. BJ ended up extending that forearm, giving the defender a little bit of a shock right there, and certainly the officials will call that every time, so they got to be really careful and keep that possession.
It's homecoming tonight here at GCA. It's a packed house. As working it inside is Boer. He can't get the shot to fall.
Yeah, still not a bad offensive possession there because you got a pretty good look.
8-0 is the score right now as Providence Cristo Rey still has yet to get a shot up that can fall.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of movement in their offense right now, and you'll see they'll stand a lot and watch, and that's one thing they can't do. See, it's almost like they're uncertain what they want to do offensively.
Ian Reed gets the steal as B.J. Johnston couldn't get it going yet again. Outside at Tyke with a 3. That's just a little short. And Reed gets the offensive rebound. Pulling up again from the elbow is Boer. He still can't get the shot to fall.
Boy,
and it goes back the other way.
They're getting some good looks, though, and they'll get those to eventually go down here still early in the ball game. And yeah, I just like the way they're doing their offense right now, and Providence Cristo Rey's not having a whole lot of success finding the shooter, especially on the outside.
I have no clue. Do you have a guess?
It should be 8-0. Back the other way. And PCR still can't, finally somehow keeps their hands on it, but now we have a stoppage in play, and a timeout is going to be called by GCA. And we will see can't quite get a feed on if it's a 30 or a full timeout. We will stay here.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be a 30. They're all staying up.
So it's a 30-second timeout. Serenity Care Services is an IndianaSRN, Indiana licensed service agency. We are the friendly, experienced team of caregivers that you have been seeking. Call Angela today at 317-900-6202. Serenity Care Services, serving Central Indiana and Indianapolis.
It's a break. You can try to fix
So now we have an 8-0 lead here for GCA. So needless to say, Providence Cristo Rey, they certainly have the game plan, which is to really just feed B.J. Johnson. But it's the fact of the matter, he just hasn't been able to get anything to fall yet.
Yeah, and you haven't seen Anthony Hayes really even touch the basketball yet, and he's really their outside three-point threat. And this defense right here is really messing up PCR and trying to get their offense in gear.
Anthony Hayes works it back outside. Hayes in the corner, puts it in, now to Newell. And Newell's going to get shoved from behind there. They're going to get Blake Shoemaker with his first foul.
Well, and we mentioned in the pregame that the Cougars are going to get and they're going to play. I mean, the bottom line is they're going to be in your grill, and if you're not used to that kind of defense and that pressure coming after you and getting those deflections and everything, just getting in an offensive set is not easy.
And a steal off the inbound by Tyke. And GCA will work it back the other way. This time Jordan Tallman will check into the ball game, the 5'8" sophomore. He works at top of the key, dumps it off to Shoemaker, who drains a big three for the Cougars.
Yeah, I tell you what, we watched him in the last time we had a game with Greenwood Christian. He's another one of those guys can step out and hit the three, and it makes it so hard defensively to guard all these guys.
So we're working roughly about just around the 4-minute mark here of this first quarter. And it has been all GCA, but needless to say, GCA, they've had a little bit of trouble getting some shots to fall whenever they've had some opportunities.
Yeah, sometimes it comes a little bit too easy, and you're thinking, why am I open so easily right here? But their offense will settle down a little bit again. You see them running off that side screen right there, and they've had a couple of open looks from the outside, and they'll start to heat up.
Tallman puts it inside to Shoemaker. He puts the hook shot up from the elbow and gets that to fall. A nifty shot by Blake Shoemaker.
See, I think their idea is we're going to get it inside as much as we can because we do have a size advantage, and it has worked to perfection so far.
Back the other way comes Johnson. Works to the right side. Over to Hayes. And Hayes kicks it back out here to Stratton now, and he tries to fire a shot running. That's actually Newell who can't get it to go. Pushing it up court, it bounces off of the shoulder of Satre. Comes back the other way to Johnson, and he finally gets a shot to fall and draws the and one opportunity. So better late than never here if you're PCR.
Yeah, and that's B.J. Johnson, as we mentioned. He's really their best athlete. You can throw Jordan Stratton in there as well, but as B.J. Johnson, who's a guy really looks to score for Providence Cristo Rey, and that's a good start now. They got to build on it from there.
And Johnson is able to rattle that one home. Johnson, the leading scorer for this Wolves team, averaging around 16 points a contest. And now comes the Cougars yet again with Boer. He leaves it for Tallman. He gets to the elbow. And Boer wants to fire that three-pointer, instead drives into the lane, but he shuffled his feet as he's set to try and get that drive going. And another turnover, which is something that you said, Troy, that GCA has to try to avoid.
Yeah, and that's something, even if tonight you don't get it all together, it's something you're going to think about down the road a little bit, is not turning the ball over. You know, they had Shoemaker cutting the lane that last possession. If they throw it inside, they get another really good look.
Johnson tries to get the cut right up the lane. He leaves it for Newell, and that's just a little too strong off of the iron. Inside 2 minutes to play now. Satre back outside to Tallman. All the way around the horn, a Shoemaker tries again from deep. That's off the front of the iron. Loose ball is fought for, and it's taken by GCA, but then it's stolen right out of his hands by Anthony Hayes.
Yeah, third turnover now for Greenwood Christian. 5 on the night for Providence Cristo Rey.
90 seconds left here in the first quarter. 10-point lead here for GCA.
You know, those Cougars not up in the grill as much right now. They're almost daring PCR to shoot the basketball from three.
Stratton brings it back out. puts the elbow into the defender, and they're going to get an offensive foul on that. That's a pretty cut-and-dry call right there for the official.
Yeah, second time we've seen a player from Providence, Cristo Ray, extend that arm, and boy, I tell you what, you got to be really, really careful because you're talking about a team now. If you start getting into foul trouble, you don't have much on that bench, so they're going to have to back off a little bit, and that could be a real problem for your defense as well.
About 65 seconds left here in the quarter, and there is a cut right to the basket by Blake Shoemaker.
Tell you what, that young man right there can play inside, outside, and that's really good look that time by Satre to find your teammate there for the easy bucket.
Steal on the inbound by Noah Reed. He has a wide open Parker Satre down low. He gets his first points of the night.
7 turnovers now PCR, and that's really going to hurt him when this is all said and done if they don't clean that up.
7 turnovers, more turnovers than points right now for the Wolves, as Stratton goes right to the basket and draws a foul.
Well, that's their best bet right now, and they've got to find a way to get to the basket. If they can score, great, get to the free throw line and try to get some freebie points right here. And we talked about Stratton being one of those other players who's a very good athlete, and they're going to need him to put more points on the board.
He averages 11 a night for the Wolves, as that's going to be a foul on Ian Reed. He'll pick up his first, and team foul number 6. So this is a Wolves team under the tutelage of Dominic Papalia in his first year. He's, of course, 0-10. 0-11 this year. The second shot does not go for Jordan Stratton. And keeping the dribble going right there is Noah Reed, and they're going to say he was fouled in transition, and that's going to be B.J. Johnson picking up foul number 2.
Yeah, tough when you make that foul that far away from the basket and such, but you know, one thing about so far Providence, Cristo Rey, they are getting up and defending, and so far it's just really been the interior defenses that hurt them the most, and now they're trying to extend that 2-3 zone.
Foul was actually on Jordan Stratton. That'll be his second, so still 1 foul for B.J. Johnson. GCA going to try and hold for the last shot here, it would appear, as you see Max Boer drive along the baseline. Noah Reed will follow in that regard, puts the shot up, doesn't go, and that brings us to the end of quarter number 1. 17-4 for the Cougars, going to quarter number 2 on IndianaSRN.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Is there any way that we're back.
17-4 going to quarter number 2 here on IndianaSRN alongside Troy Darengowski. I'm Kurt Darling. So, Troy, needless to say, this is going probably about how we would have expected, but still, Providence, Cristo Rey, they've shown some signs of at least knowing what their game plan is. It's just a matter of getting the shots to fall.
Yeah, and that's just it, and they're not getting enough shots. They didn't really have that many in that opening period of play, and, you know, they ended up with 7 turnovers as well, and when you have 7 turnovers and just 4 points, that's not going to spell a good thing. So they got to get things going offensively. Be a little more patient on offense, and don't be in a hurry. If things break down, reset it and go back at it again.
So the Wolves working the offense here going into the second quarter. Dumped off to Stratton. And Stratton will work it over to Hayes, who has been kind of nifty on forcing a few turnovers here on GCA. Meanwhile, Johnson going behind the back. Spin move inside. A nice play by B.J. Johnson.
Well, we mentioned earlier, he's got to be one of the 2 guys, he and Stratton. If they're going to get any offensive production, it'll probably be between those 2 unless they get Hayes to shoot from the outside.
So 17-6. Back outside here, we see Aiden Sloan back into the ball game after picking up an early foul. Outside, 3 on the way from Noah Reed. Doesn't go. Another offensive board here for the Cougars. Shoemaker fires another one and hits.
Second three-pointer of the night, double figures, and it just shows you his versatility. He can step out, and he's a hard guard when they start doing that.
And now GCA going to the full-court press, and they're going to say a foul there as Noah Reed got a slight hand on the wrist of Jordan Stratton as he was trying to go for the loose ball.
You know, I mentioned that earlier. You can gamble a little bit when you have a deeper bench, and I know we're going to walk down and shoot some free throws. You don't mind gambling at this stage. You have a 20-6 lead, and the other thing about it is you can go to guys on your bench, and you're going to get more steals when it's all said and done.
So team foul number 7, it's going to be number 2 on Noah Reed. And now, as you said here, Troy, is a matter of if PCR is going to have any opportunities to do something, some kind of scoring. You have it right here at the free throw line.
Yeah, you got it, and the clock is off, and that certainly is a big help. So free throws are going to be big here the rest of the way. But I tell you what, I hate to start trading free throws for baskets at the other end when you're shooting threes the way that we saw Shoemaker earlier. So you're still going to have to find a way to develop your offense and get something going other than free throws.
Stratton makes the first one, has another one coming, and it is good as well. So Providence Cristo Rey now is 4 of 5 from the free throw line, so that's certainly something looking good in that regard so far. Back on the other side now, GCA working the offense once again.
Well, and here the three-pointer here, but that's a good three-pointer.
That's a good shot right there by Max Boer. Sorry, he had to interrupt you while he was doing his score.
No, it's fine. I was about ready to say they were extending that 2-3 zone, and there's another turnover.
Back the other way again. GCA forcing a lot of turnovers, and it will stay with the Cougars on this side of the court.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to mention there, they're extending that 2-3 zone. They got the 2 guards pushed outside. They're leaving the 3 guys down low because there's been so much success by Greenwood Christian on the inside. If I'm Greenwood Christian, I go back inside if I can.
Tallman gives it back out, and we have a whistle, and it looks like it was a traveling violation on Jordan Tallman there as he got that pass up top to Matt Tyke.
Yeah, that little jump, every once in a while we see these young players kind of thinking they're in the NBA, and those guys get away with it, but in high school basketball, it's not going to happen.
Quickly, Johnson back the other way, loses the handle, and GCA loses the handle as well, but somehow coming away with it, and GCA has possession and calls the timeout. And it will be a 30-second timeout taken by Greenwood Christian Academy. Well, be sure to check out the IHSAA Foundation and subscribe to our newsletter, The Advocate, at ihsaafoundation.org. Thanks to the IHSAA Foundation for what they're doing for our student athletes. IHSAA Foundation, The Advocate, at ihsaafoundation.org. So now, Troy Darengowski, obviously, at Greenwood Christian Academy, you just got to keep in the rhythm and keep doing what you're doing on offense. And keep in mind, this is a good time to really, now that you have a huge lead to work with here, you can start working on a few things to probably just trying to keep the momentum going, especially after that loss to Central Christian last night.
Until my guards start hitting some threes, and I want him to keep shooting because Boer just hit that one. Reed and Boer, they're good shooters, no doubt about it, but right now they don't have that rhythm going. I would go back inside and keep pounding it until you think that your shooters are kind of ready to go, but they haven't been so far. Let's see if they go back to the inside. You have the size advantage. It might be a thing to do.
3 ball on the way again, this time from Aiden Sloan. So it's raining threes, all threes in the second quarter for Greenwood Christian Academy. They have not scored inside the arc here this quarter.
Well, yeah, it's completely opposite. They went against what I just told them they should probably do, right? So, listen, maybe they're just starting to get hot right now.
9 points in this quarter, all of them from behind the arc. B.J. Johnson goes right to the rack and tries to draw a foul. No whistle, though, but still a good shot there from Johnson.
Yeah, it's Johnson-Stratton show right now. They're everything offensively for Providence Cristo Rey, but they got to get other guys involved in this, and Hayes is the one. I don't think he's really even shot the ball yet. I'm not sure that he's had a very good look most of the time, but they're going to have to find a way to get him to shoot some threes after that turnover.
Hayes is another player that averages double figures per contest, and that's also in spite of the fact that this is a team that only averages 45 points a game. So Hayes Puts it back up here to Stratton. And now off to Newell. As the Wolves still work it around. Back outside, Hayes, one of those threes that you were talking about, Troy, just off the mark. And a foul from behind here. It looks like they're going to get GCA with it.
Yeah, and that came from not boxing out underneath, and you allowed one of the better athletes in there to sneak in there to try to get a rebound. When that shot goes up, you really got to find your man and get him out of there. And if they do that against B.J. Johnson, he probably doesn't have an opportunity to get that foul right there. So I'm sure that's something that Greenwood Christian will clean up the rest of the way.
Jordan Tallman picks up foul number 2 here for GCA. So a 1-and-1 for a B.J. Johnson. And he balks at the first one, so he does not get another one. Working inside of 5 minutes here in this quarter. Outside, Boer fakes the 3 ball, drives into the lane, loses the handle. Tallman gets pushed from behind, no whistle, and B.J. Johnson will take that right to the rack.
You look at that last possession by Greenwood Christian as they quickly hurry the ball down the floor. I tell you what, I don't know why Boer didn't go in there and just shoot the basketball. He stops. The defender freezes. He had a chance to get a jump shot. Instead, he tries to kick it to the outside. That's something they're going to have to clean up when it gets to tournament time, because they now have 6 turnovers here in the first half.
Anthony Hayes picks up his first, the 4th on PCR. And the ball turned over, just mishandled out of play there by Max Boer.
They almost look like a team that hasn't forgotten last night's loss to Central Christian, because even though they've got the 26-12 lead, they've made some really unforced errors here, especially in this second quarter.
Hayes leaves it for Johnson, using his athletic ability to move inside. Johnson right now with 6 straight points here for Providence Cristo Rey.
Yeah, he's really a very good athlete. We mentioned that in the pregame, and if he gets rolling, he can keep in the ballgame, and they're back to within 12.
So Providence has cut that back to a 12-point lead. They're trying to do a little bit more here. Meanwhile, GCA has gotten a little stagnant on offense outside of shooting some threes. They're going to try it again here with Tallman. It goes a lot further than what he intended. And Providence Cristo Rey has a few opportunities here that GCA is giving them.
Tyke and Shoemaker, when's the last time that they touched the basketball in a meaningful possession? It's been a while since they've been settling for that 3. Still think when sometimes that shot doesn't go down, you live and die by that 3, which I think is very true. Got to get it back inside.
Hayes back up top to Johnson. Pitch and catch around the horn here between Stratton, Johnson, and Hayes. Hayes will load up a 3. That's a little short. Quickly back around the court comes Boer. And in the corner, Shoemaker for a short 3. Boer gets the offensive rebound. Can't get the lay-in to fall. It goes out of play. It stays with the Cougars.
Boy, they had a couple of good looks right there, the 3, and then, of course, the drive inside. The contact was made, and just wasn't able to finish right there. So, again, the offense is, they had a really good opening period of play. They've hit a couple of 3s here in the second quarter, but just hasn't flowed the way it did early.
Timeout on the floor, and we will take one with them here on Indiana SRN.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
It's a 12-point advantage for Greenwood Christian Academy here on Indiana SRN as they look to try and bounce back from a loss last night to Central Christian. Providence Cristo Rey, on the other hand, though, is making it a little bit of a game here in this second quarter after going down 17-4 in the early going.
Yeah, they're becoming a little more respectable right here, and that's certainly, you got to give yourself a chance to win into the fourth quarter, and they're back to within striking distance. What they want to do to get it to halftime, get that thing down to 10 or under.
So Jeb Bird is into the ball game for the first time tonight for the Cougars. And Shoemaker keeping it outside. And this is something that GCA has started to kind of lean on a little bit here, is shooting the three ball and still not making it go. But right there for the offensive rebound and putback is Parker Sautre.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I like the way that young man sneaks inside. We've seen him do that before, and a great job getting that offensive rebound.
Sautre with 4 points tonight. Puts it back out to a 14-point advantage for GCA.
You know, Greenwood Christian, we talked about how they were playing so far out beyond the three-point line defensively. They've kind of slacked off a little bit, but they're still very tough getting PCR trying to get into that half-court offense.
B.J. Johnson, a 6'1" junior. And now Cristo Rey puts it back over to Stratton up top. Stratton fakes the handoff. He'll take it inside himself. And no foul call there, and a nice take by Stratton inside.
I think it was a good no call. Let him play on. Really wasn't that much contact to make much difference in his move to the basket, so really a good no call.
And it keeps the game moving here as Shoemaker gets the nice feed from Tyke and a little strong on the push.
See, and I like the way they got that ball inside, and if they keep doing that, I think they'll get better looks. And, that was close to an over and back right there, but I like their inside game. I think they need to keep doing that. If you go a little high-low, use those two high-post players, however you want to do it, but keep working the ball inside against PCR.
70 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Javion Newell puts it back up top, over to Stratton. He'll load up a long three, and Stratton with a nice shot.
Don't see Stratton do that very often, but able to connect on this one, and all of a sudden it's a 9-point ball game.
Providence Cristo Rey is outscoring GCA here in the second quarter.
Yeah, they got to feel very encouraged by that, and this 2-3 zone has really worked very well for them in this second quarter by extending those guards and keeping the three bigs underneath and trying to keep everything to the outside.
Providence Cristo Rey 15-11 the advantage here in this quarter after going down 17-4 in the early going.
One thing I was going to say, just one thing about this 2-3 zone, you usually have a one-man front against a 2-3 zone, and if it's a one-man front defensively, you have two guards, and they've kind of played the two, and that's even things out.
A nice give and go right back to Shoemaker. Some pitch and catch between he and Sautre. That pushes it back to an 11-point advantage. 1 second left on the clock. Johnson puts it up at the buzzer. It does not go, and that makes it an 11-point advantage for GCA going to the halftime period. 30-19 is your halftime score. Troy Darengowski, needless to say, we have ourselves a little bit of a ball game here going into the second half.
Yeah, unexpected. I think most of us came into this ball game thinking this could get out of hand early, and it looked like that might be the case, 17-4 after one, but give Providence Cristo Rey, especially Stratton and Johnson, they've kept this team in the ball game, and give them credit for staying in there, because you can easily get down that big and just give up and think it's just another one of those games. And then on the other side, Greenwood Christian, I didn't like the way that they really played offensively in that second quarter. I mean, sometimes they're settling for the three. Really feel if they keep going inside, they can really have their way. And if you go inside, if it's not there, kick it outside, because the defense had collapsed so many times. But we've got us a ball game.
We now send it to the halftime show sponsored by Hoosier Basketball Magazine. 30-19 is your halftime score here at GCA on Indiana SRN.
Today, greed, selfish interest, and barefaced corruption seem all the fashion. America needs great men of tolerance who can give honest debate to the great issues of the day. I've seen mostly squabbling, men squandering their time, being wolves to one another. Yet, I'm not without hope. we still have Freemasonry. Yes, the same Freemasons that helped create this country have always provided great men when needed. And today, in every city and town in America, Freemasonry is still providing that special place where young men can find their greatness and accomplished men can give something back. Yes, in this time of great hope, it is my hope that America will see that Freemasonry is a national treasure that cannot be separated from our country's future.
You want a career that creates experiences that are impossible to forget. By studying sports and events at IUPUI, you'll get hands-on experience in and out of the classroom. And with Indy as your classroom, there are high-profile events, sports franchises, hotels, museums, and large organizations across the city to engage, educate, and enlighten your student journey before you graduate. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to prepare you to handle any event, big or small. It all starts here.
Hi, my name is Chris Cross, and for the last 6 years I have taught elementary at GCA, and I'm currently transitioning into an administrative role. Fourth grade students are often struggling with who they are and how they relate to others. Being an elementary teacher, I have been able to speak God's truth into the lives of students just in an everyday manner. Just for example of tattling or gossiping and going into God's Word and saying, how does this Word, God's Word, speak into this relationship? How do we use it? What do we do? And the greatest thing is that I've seen those kids take those pieces of information, put them into practice, and also teach their other fellow students. Out at recess, I've heard them say, well, what do you think God would say about this? And to me, that's the greatest thing that can happen here.
I'm Sean Branch, and I am entering my 6th year of teaching 6th grade Math, Science, Bible here at Greenwood Christian Academy. I think every teacher in the world wants to have an impactful relationship with each of his or her students. Here at GCA, I get to know these kids. I get to have an impact on their lives because I know what they're interested in, I know what they're passionate about, I understand what they're dealing with and where they're coming from. I've had relationships and communications with their parents, and so I'm able to speak life into them in and out of the classroom, which is a real blessing. As a former student athlete myself, I never thought I would be able to use that part of my journey to impact so many people's lives. But now here at GCA as a coach, I can take my knowledge of sport and use it as a ministry to help these young people.
Learn the story.
Love the story.
Live the story.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Hey, conductor, how about something new? You played this last year. Come on, get your head out of your sacks. Shh, we're trying to hear. Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorites.
My kid heard that solo!
You saying I did?
Yeah!
Come on!
Hi, I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to ihsaafoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Greed, selfish interest, and barefaced corruption seem all the fashion. America needs great men of tolerance who can give honest debate to the great issues of the day. I'm seeing mostly squabbling, men squandering their time, being wolves to one another. Yet, I'm not without hope. We still have Freemasonry. Yes, the same Freemasons that helped create this country have always provided great men when needed. And today, in every city and town in America, Freemasonry is still providing that special place where young men can find their greatness and accomplished men can give something back. Yes, in this time of great hope, it is my hope that America will see that Freemasonry is a national treasure that cannot be separated from our country's future.
Piper Group Warehouse has a strong commitment to their clients as their logistics provider. If you would like to discover how you can improve your service levels while lowering your overall cost, Piper Logistics Group can help. Call Greg Piper today at 317-396-3916. Piper Logistics Group.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake. Yeah.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got a counter right here. Isn't this where you place the orders?
We sell trophies, we sell plaques, we do embroidery. No food.
You got carry out?
Unlike the internet, everything that you need we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
You know, Jim, I'll be back tomorrow to pick it all up.
We'll wait for you.
Don't wait long.
I'm Keith Myers, Vice President of IndianaSRN. Thanks for joining us. Do you know IndianaSRN broadcasts 350 games a year? All sorts of sports? Yeah, we do. Hard to believe, isn't it? IndianaSRN loves to put student athletes first on our website. If you're a business out there, we probably could help you too. Contact us at coach@indianasrn.org. Grandma from out of state thanks you. Mom and Dad who can't get to the game thanks you as well. In fact, our athletes watch the games over and over again. Our military has enjoyed the games as well. So sit back and enjoy the game. It's IndianaSRN.
Burtner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
There's no greater anti-poverty measure than to give a person a job. That helps them start to change that trajectory.
Morales Group is a full-service staffing company that provides temporary labor in the Indianapolis, Central Indiana market.
It was a challenge that was given by my father. He wanted me to give back much more than I had been. Then I realized that when he said more, he wanted me to see how I could give more. And it wasn't just in money, but in time and in services. And that's how the Morales Group was created.
I started off at Morales Group as an intern. I interned for 3 years before going on full-time staff here. What I love most about Morales Group is that big family aspect. I come from a big family in Mexico, and since the company is continuously growing, I feel like there's always a new member of the family that I get to know.
We're willing to give. We're willing to serve others, and we're not expecting something in return.
Come talk to us. We would love to work with you.
Hi, I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to ihsaafoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
You want a sports degree that is beyond the game? A degree that immerses you from day one and launches you into the business side of sports. With a sports management major from IUPUI's School of Health and Human Sciences, you'll have insider access to sports professionals and will learn from faculty with years of teaching and industry experience. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to launch your sport industry career.
You know, when Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Needing to hire someone to take care of your loved one when you're away? Maybe your family member just needs someone to talk to when you're not around. Why not contact Indiana licensed Serenity Care Services? Call Angela, owner of Serenity Care Services, at 317-900-6202. Our team of trained and experienced personal care providers are licensed to serve seniors requiring companion care and light housekeeping services in Indianapolis and its 5 surrounding counties. Call us today at 317-900-6202. Now hiring qualified applicants.
Burtner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
I'm Keith Myers, Vice President of IndianaSRN. Thanks for joining us. You know IndianaSRN broadcasts 350 games a year, all sorts of sports. Yeah, we do. Hard to believe, isn't it? IndianaSRN loves to put student athletes first on our website. If you're a business out there, we probably could help you too. Contact us at coach@indianasrn.org. Grandma from out of state thanks you. Mom and Dad who can't get to the game thanks you as well. In fact, our athletes watch the games over and over again. Our military has enjoyed the games as well. So sit back and enjoy the game. It's IndianaSRN.
They say nice guys don't finish first. So maybe it's time to reconsider what it means to be first.
It's about being your best, but knowing you can be even better.
It's being present, but respectful of history.
You sure you want to make that move?
It's donating something more valuable than money.
It's believing in yourself and something bigger.
It's coming from different families, but treating each other like brothers.
It's not just being a man, it's being a Mason.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Closing out the Hoosier Basketball Magazine halftime show here on Indiana SRN. It is a 30-19 advantage for Greenwood Christian Academy over Providence Cristo Rey. Alongside Troy Darengowski, I'm Kurt Darling. Troy, we've been talking off the air just about how this game has ebbed and flowed. And needless to say, Providence Cristo Rey has been a little bit more competitive than what we may have expected based on how this team has played all season long. 0-11 coming into this contest. Greenwood Christian Academy, though, they've probably gotten a little too comfortable with shooting from behind the arc.
Yeah, I tell you what, and I'm going to be curious to see, this was an extremely long halftime that these two teams are now coming back out and having to warm up, because that was about 20 minutes by the time they got back out there. If you're a player, and you know as well as I do, Kurt, you get tight, and next thing you know, you got to go back and warm up again. It's not an easy thing to do. So how this second half starts, I'm going to be very curious to see how both these teams react to that. Yeah, I thought Greenwood Christian sometimes settled for the three a little bit too much. I really liked what they were doing inside, cutters going down the middle of the lane, big guys finding bigs, and I thought that they kind of went away from that. And I know a lot of times players love that three-point shot. And if it's not falling, though, you got to go with what is working. And then if you're comfortable with what you're doing offensively, then maybe try to go back out for the threes. For Providence Cristo Rey, you're right. I tell you what, I am very surprised, and they ought to be encouraged. They're on the road again. They're playing a team that's coming off a loss last night. They're playing very well, and right now B.J. Johnson and Jordan Stratton, the only two guys that are really doing anything offensively. They're going to have to find some other guys to step up, but those two guys have done a nice job keeping them in the ball game. They've turned Greenwood Christian over 7 times. I think that's a little bit high for Greenwood Christian. They're going to have to cut back on that. It started out early where Providence Cristo Rey had a lot of turnovers. They cut that down. They only have 9. I know they're being out-rebounded 13-8 in this ball game so far, but all indications are if you can have a good third quarter, give yourself a chance in the fourth quarter to win a ball game, they should feel pretty good where they are.
B.J. Johnson and Jordan Stratton are the only two scorers, as you mentioned, Troy, for Providence Cristo Rey. 11 points for Johnson and 8 points for Stratton. The scoring a little bit more spread out among GCA. The leading scorer is Blake Shoemaker. He has 12 points, 2 three-pointers made, along with 3 two-point field goals as well. Then you also have 6 points for Matt Tyke, and that's something that's interesting right there. Tyke, he had 6 of the first 8 points for GCA. He went completely fruitless in the second quarter.
Yeah, and that means they weren't feeding him enough. And that's something, again, I'm going to go with the hot hand. And right now, when you look at Shoemaker and Tyke, those two guys were really doing everything you needed them to do, including working each other in that offense. And I think they're going to have to go back to that. I don't know if they're happy with the way they're playing right now. I don't think they would be, because I think they're heavy favorites coming in, and I would want to play better than I did, certainly what happened last night on the road at Central Christian. But adjustments, that's why you have a halftime. Adjustments are made, and we'll see if they adjust here in the second half.
These are two relatively young schools to IHSAA competition. GCA first played their first IHSAA season in 2006. Meanwhile, Providence Cristo Rey, they started their IHSAA competition back in 2017, and they really hit the ball roll. They really hit the ground running. They went 47-26 in their first 3 seasons, and needless to say, it's just really uncanny, as I mentioned earlier, about how this is a team now going 0-11 into this contest.
Well, and I don't know what all the circumstances are behind the 4 players that we had at the beginning of the year and why they're not on the team or what the situation is, but losing those 4, I think, is a huge key.
So second half underway here. GCA will get things going on offense here as the Cougars will kick it back outside to Max Boer. And once again, pushing it into the lane this time, and Boer with the scoop and score.
Yeah, tough play right there. We saw Boer pass up a couple of shots in the first half. That time he decided to take it strong.
So Providence Cristo Rey coming back the other direction. And Hayes will put up a very long 3. That's way off the mark. But Johnson comes away with the offensive rebound.
We saw Hayes against Chittard hit some big shots, but tonight just is not falling for him.
Stratton off the pass from Johnson takes it to the rack, and he'll draw a foul on GCA. This will be their first of the half, and it looks like it's going against Aiden Sloan. That'll be his second.
You know, your guards have got to stop penetration, and I know that when you look at Johnson and Stratton, they do penetrate from the top, and some of your guards got to stay in front of them and keep them out of the lane.
So back to the free throw line we go here for PCR, and Stratton and Johnson have been the only two to make free throw attempts tonight. They are now 4 of 6 after that miss from Stratton. And Stratton's able to bring home the second one. He now has 9 points. Still a 12-point advantage here for Greenwood Christian Academy as we work our way into the third.
Yeah, still working against that 2-3 zone. Those guards continue to extend out and really making it tough now on the shooters to get an open look. So I think that's why you look back to the inside if you can.
Boer fakes the 3 ball, and the shot may have gotten a piece of it, did Stratton. Either way, it went off the side of the backboard, and here comes Stratton up the court.
See, and why that's a tough shot, because Stratton has those long arms, and you're trying to go up against that wing player like that. And I think the best thing they could have done is perhaps kick it back inside while you had that wing out on the perimeter.
Hayes loads it up again. He's now 0 for 4 from behind the arc tonight. And quickly pushing it up the court is Noah Reed. Outside, 3 on the way. Nothing doing there from Aiden Sloan. And going to the ground is GCA. Looks like that was Noah Reed who traveled. And another turnover back to Providence.
Yeah, 8 turnovers now for Greenwood Christian, 9 on the night for Providence Cristo Rey, so things evening up right there, which is kind of unusual because right now PCR really isn't turning the ball over much, especially after that first quarter.
Stratton looks to the right side. Johnson screams around the top of the key, and he's going to be fouled there by Max Boer.
You know, I'm not really sure that GCA really has the athletes to guard guys like Stratton and B.J. Johnson. I think I don't know, maybe they just don't play zone. Maybe the coach has a philosophy that he just doesn't want to zone, but I think that's something they really ought to think about doing is go to a 2-3 and maybe a 1-3-1 something to slow those guys in their penetration.
Touched out of bounds by Anthony Hayes. A turnover back to GCA on the inbound.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity right there for your Providence Cristo Rey to get a basket off the inbound, and unfortunately their 10th turnover.
Boer holds it on the left side. Into the corner, 3 on the way from Reed, and he drains that one for his first points of the evening.
Well, that time he didn't bother driving the baseline and hit a nice outside shot, and they're going to need more of that.
Out to a 15-point lead. Tying the largest lead of the night here for GCA. And trying to answer is Stratton, and that is off of the left side of the rim.
Yeah, I was watching that Greenwood Christian defense. I'm trying to figure out where they're doing and what they're doing on their switches.
Boer sets up and has plenty of time, and he hits.
Well, when you got your guys hitting from the outside, it's great, and things are looking really good as they extended that lead back to 15. But what happens then when it's not falling?
38-20 on the scoreboard, and that is the 6th three-pointer made by GCA. And now we have a foul on the Cougars on the other end of the floor.
I think they might have gotten Ian Reed. Am I correct about that? Yeah, Ian Reed.
So that'll be the 3rd of the quarter on GCA, and that'll be Ian Reed's 2nd.
Yeah, just still too much penetration down toward the basket if you're the defense right now. Keep them to the outside. Really, Providence Cristo Rey has not shot the ball well from the outside, so their only alternative is to take it to the basket.
And another quick foul here on Jordan Tallman. So, needless to say here, GCA, it's been kind of a sloppy game to say the least here for the Cougars. You're racking up a lot of fouls, and you've turned the ball over probably a little more than you'd like to.
Yeah, it hasn't been the kind of game I think you'd expect after that loss last night especially.
And a big three-pointer there from Providence Cristo Rey. I believe that was Newell who had that one. First player not named B.J. Johnson or Jordan Stratton to score a point here for PCR. And now on the other side of the court, we have a foul coming up on PCR.
Yeah, they may have gotten number 30. Is that who it was?
Hayes.
Yeah, Hayes.
His 2nd. And that'll be the first foul of the half here on Providence. And so now we see GCA at the free throw line for the first time tonight. It'll be Matt Tyke to try and give himself his 7th and 8th points, and he gets his 7th.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, Tyke
got off to a great start, then really didn't even factor into the offense up until right about now. And I think he's one of those guys that, at 6'4", long, and really does a nice job on the inside, want to get him more involved.
Tyke rims it off the front of the iron on his second one. But now out to a 16-point lead. GCA is slowly extending the lead here over Providence. And now we have a foul in transition, and this time they're going to get Johnson away from the ball.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he was one of those plays on the opposite side right in front of the official. And the one thing you can't do, you just can't run anybody over, extend your arms in any way to get through the defender, and that's why they got him on the offensive foul.
So foul number 3 now on B.J. Johnson.
Boy, they really can't afford to lose that young man being their leading scorer.
In the corner here is Boer. Going back and forth between he and Reed. Boer loads up a 3 and hits. Back-to-back threes here for Jordan Boer.
Yeah, and we talked about he's a great shooter when things are falling. It certainly is a great thing for them, and there for a while it was not. Seems like they're now starting to find their rhythm. But I'll tell you, with B.J. Johnson having 3 fouls at the other end, tell you what, any time I could find him on the floor, I'd make sure I'd go at him and try to get him out of the ball game.
Well, and now Jordan Tallman has 4 fouls for GCA, so Jackson Williams taking him out of the ball game, showing a little bit of frustration there, was the sophomore.
Well, and sometimes you're thinking, well, I didn't really foul, but they got him on a good one that time. I don't think there's any question about it at all.
Big rebound by Matt Tyke. Quickly up the floor come the Cougars, and fouled from behind there is by Newell. There is Boer, and so he'll go to the line for 2.
See, and that's one thing I think you can get Providence, Cristo Rey. Those guys like to block shots. When you talk about Stratton, Newell, Johnson, they got the long arms. They're going to go for the block, and so that's why I think if you take it strong, you're going to really force them to foul you and put you at the free throw line.
And so that'll be Newell's first foul of the night, the third of the half for PCR. Meanwhile, Max Boer drains his first free throw.
And you start now to see things slip away, and this is kind of what we have seen by Providence, Cristo Rey. Even when we watched them against Chittard earlier this year, they'll play well, and then the next thing you know, that lead just extends.
15 points now for Max Boer. He becomes the leading scorer as Blake Shoemaker hasn't really been able to get on the board here this second half. A nice move in reverse inside by Jordan Stratton.
Yeah, great move there. But again, it's penetration. Guard's got to find a way to stop him and push him back to the outside.
Kick back outside. 3 ball on the way from Ian Reed. Off the back of the iron. Loose ball corralled by Shoemaker. Boer in the corner, and he hits over a contested shot, and Max Boer is leading the way here in this third quarter.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Maybe the toughest shot of the night. We talked about the long arms of those defenders on the wings.
Back the other way comes Stratton.
Yeah, and he traveled with it. And I tell you what, he traveled with it, I thought, the last time that they brought the ball down. He got away with it, but not this time. Tried that little European step, but took a little extra Euro in that European step, and I thought that was a good call.
And so it comes back the other way here as Coach Williams seeking a little bit of clarification here from the officials. Meanwhile, it'll be Cougars basketball here. So,
well, and I'm not really sure what this discussion is about because it was a traveling call at the other end of the floor, but we've got a timeout.
Full timeout taken by Greenwood Christian Academy. We take one with them here on IndianaSRN.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
20-point lead now for GCA coming out of the full timeout alongside Troy Darengowski. I'm Kurt Darling. Well, Troy, we have 3 minutes left here in the third, and the Cougars, in spite of having the lead all game long here, they're starting to get in a little bit more of a rhythm, at least shooting the ball now.
Yeah, I thought they reacted more, in fact, better coming out of that long halftime than Providence Cristo Ray, and I certainly think that's been the case in the shooting department, just like that shot.
Nice baseline jumper by Noah Reed to get his first points.
Yeah, for some reason, Providence Cristo Ray just didn't have that same fire. You know, as a head coach, when you're playing well, you don't want a halftime. You want to keep playing, and I think if PCR could have, they would have forgotten about halftime. But that 20 minutes, I think, took something out of them. They just don't seem to be playing with the same fire.
7 different Cougars have scored here today as the ball gets tipped out of bounds, and it will be Cougars basketball.
And eventually, when you think about Stratton and Johnson doing most of the work on offense, I don't think they have the same get up and go here in the third quarter as you saw, because they might be getting a little bit tired because they too played last night.
Many teams have that happen where you play 2 games in 2 nights. Certainly how IHSAA competition works, but it could be worse. You could be playing in Texas where you're playing almost 40 games in a season. Outside, 3 on the way, good from Max Boer. He has 4 3-pointers in this quarter alone.
Yeah, he's really starting to heat things up. He's starting to feel it, and I think maybe somebody said something at halftime, listen, you're going to shoot out there, let's shoot with rhythm and shoot it with confidence.
Johnson trying to break somewhat of a stalemate here on the scoring department for the Wolves. Newell loses the handle. Johnson comes away with it. Into the corner, 3 on the way from Providence Cristo Ray, and they hit.
Yeah, that was good ball movement that time after picking up a loose basketball and finding the open shooter.
Shoemaker back the other side. And around the horn from Reed to Boer again.
Yeah, everything's on the perimeter right now for Greenwood Christian. Still think you could look back to the inside. There you go.
They do briefly, and now along the baseline, a nice cut and nice reverse by Parker Satre.
Yeah, he does a nice job. Just solid player, does a great job on offense, gets the ball around the basket, did a nice reverse layup right there, and just has a nose for getting to the hoop.
So we have a whistle and some substitutions here. It looks like it might be Blake Shoemaker who's having some equipment issues, may have gotten a flat tire, and so has to come out of the ball game for the time being.
Boy, that cuts back on your playing time, doesn't it?
Just a little bit. So Jordan Stratton working it up top. Into the corner. Back outside. Hayes loads up atop of the key 3. Again off the mark. He can certainly shoot it from outside, but hasn't really been able to get it to go here this evening.
You know, you go back to the previous game when we had them. He had like his first 3 shots. He was really shooting well. But he appears to be kind of that streak shooter when things aren't going well. It's not going to happen for him. And so far tonight, he has not hit a shot, even when he's left wide open. And that really plays into the favor of Greenwood Christian because they can play back off on him quite a bit tonight.
Working inside the final minute. Greenwood Christian Academy averaging 53 points per contest. They are over that average here this evening. As we play a little stall ball here for GCA to try and work up to a final shot. Noah Reed has to get rid of it as he gets pressured by the defender.
Yeah, you start to make your move at about 8 when you really want to make a move toward the basket and get a good look.
Ian Reed tries to cut it. Instead, goes out to Noah Reed, and he just throws it out of bounds. A little bit of a miscommunication there between he and Sloan. And so now PCR has 1 minute, 1 second and some change to work with here to get a final shot.
Yeah, needless to say, not good execution on that final play by Greenwood Christian.
Hayes along the sideline throws up a prayer. It doesn't go, and they're going to say he traveled, and so there's still just a few ticks left in this third quarter.
Unless you can throw it at the rim, there's nothing you can do here.
So all you expect here is an inbound, and you have that. No shot. We go to the fourth quarter. It almost went in there going to the fourth quarter. It is a big lead for GCA going to the final quarter of this one here on IndianaSRN.
Burtner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
A new tire there for Blake Shoemaker. Has to play with a different shoe now as he probably busted the previous one, but needless to say, it's helping GCA in this one as they have a 54-28 lead going to quarter number 4 here. Troy Darengowski, you were talking to me just off the air right now here about what GCA can do to close things out here. They've been able to shoot it, but needless to say, they've kind of abandoned what they can do best, and that's down low.
Well, I tell you what, if they can work it where they can get a high post and a low post on one side and Boer in the corner, that wing's got to make a decision, either come out or stay in. If he doesn't come out, you hit the 3. If he does come out, you throw it down low. You got a high low to work with right there.
Another turnover forced here as Jeb Bird comes away with it. He works it up court inside to Brett Northern, and he gets the foul going for the shot.
Yeah, see, I like the entry pass, the big right there. Zach Haynes, who's in the ball game, did a nice job turning, looking to see where the defender was. But I'll tell you what, I'd love to see what Providence Cristo Rey would do with the high post, low post in a situation like that, because they got to pick up one of them, and that opposite side forward's got to stay out here. Otherwise, you can skip pass and find a 3 on the other side.
So now you put Blake Northern at the line. He gets his first point of the night. He becomes the 8th different scorer for GCA this evening.
Yeah, they're really doing a nice job mixing it up. You know, they had, 24 points in that third quarter, and Boer had the big quarter, but they got a lot of guys involved.
Look at that rebound there by Parker Sautre. He spun around Hayes, picked it off, and kept the ball on offense here for GCA.
Yeah, I like him. Every time we see him play, guy didn't get a whole lot of ink, and he's not always the leading scorer as they turn the ball over, but a guy really hustles and plays hard.
It extended the possession there for the Cougars. So it sits at a 17-point advantage now. And there's a big turnover back the other way. And still right back to Providence Cristo Rey, and they answer.
Yeah, had an opportunity to get the ball going the other way, Greenwood Christian, and just kind of got in a hurry right there instead of gaining a possession and then working from there.
So my math was incorrect. It's a 25-point advantage for GCA. Working it inside, back out. Sautre from the elbow, rattles in and out. Offensive rebound comes to Northern.
Yeah, they're out rebounding Providence Cristo Rey big time here in the second half.
Northern with another rebound and a putback by Sautre. What a play there by the junior forward.
Yeah, they're just so good inside when you get those bigs going that there's just not enough weapons for PCR to guard everybody down low.
Stratton has to put the brakes on in the lane, and Johnson will just back it out here.
Yeah, see, if you don't let them penetrate, they don't have a whole lot to do because Johnson and Stratton generally are going to shoot it from the outside.
Moving to kind of a loose zone defense here are the Cougars.
Yeah, they're playing off, and you got to stay in front of this guy right here. Stratton will drive.
Stratton will just dump it off to Hayes, who will load up a long 3. This time he is able to hit.
Yeah, Hayes hitting his first shot of the night, but probably too little too late right here because they needed some of those buckets in that third quarter.
So 57-33 on your scoreboard as we hit now 5.5 minutes left, and answering on the other side is Ian Reed.
Yeah, you answer with a 3, and you come back and then really run a nice set there in the half court.
The other way, Hayes will dump it into the corner. And coming along the baseline is Stratton. Stratton will load up a 3 from the other corner, and that doesn't go. It falls into the hands of Northern, and we have a foul on Providence Cristo Rey.
You know, Kurt, the one thing I liked about the defense that time is you run at the shooters. You have Anthony Hayes, who wanted to shoot the three. You run at him, make him a driver. They end up dumping it in the corner, and then all of a sudden what you was hoping was going to be a shooter became a driver, and then by that time their offense broke down.
And we have a technical foul, it looks like, here on Providence Cristo Rey. Probably some frustration starting to boil over here on the Wolves bench.
And no surprise, they don't have a whole lot. Again, they only have a couple of players on the bench, and the guys that are out there right now putting in a long night. And when things you thought were going to be better in the second half haven't turned out that way, and the frustration of the season continues.
Meanwhile, Ian Reed, we get a little frustrated there with that missed free throw there on this one. He has another one coming.
And when you're looking for answers and you feel maybe you played as well as you could in the first half and want to give yourself a chance in the second half, it just hasn't happened for PCR.
Reed's able to make the second one. He now has 4 points on the night, his other 3 coming off of a three-pointer. And that's certainly something that GCA has been able to consistently make here in this second half.
Yeah, shot the ball much better. He mentioned Boer earlier. They're hitting the free throws. They're playing inside. This is kind of what we expected from Greenwood Christian, and they're not turning the ball over in the second half as well.
Along the baseline to Tallman. He's playing with 4 fouls. Reed tries to fire a shot as he's fouled, and instead it just gets tipped out of play. It will remain with GCA.
Yeah, and you're probably going to see, as you see that Comerford kid come in, Ben Comerford coming into the ballgame, you see other players start to come into the lineup now for the Cougars.
Comerford, a freshman, in the corner. 3 from Jeb Bird. Another one, his first of the night.
Ab Bird comes off that screen, firing on the baseline, catch and shoot. Did a great job, all in rhythm.
64-33.
Well, if I'm PCR right now, I got to find a way, and that's a nice move there by Stratton. I want to find a way to be positive the rest of this ball game, something I can build into next week.
Almost a 30-point advantage now for GCA. And remember, the threshold for a running clock in high school basketball now is 35 points in the second half. Santre kicks it back out now to Northern. And now the freshman Comerford with a nice dish inside to Northern. He kicks it back out and around the horn. Comerford will load up a 3, and the little one gets it to go. A nice shot there from Ben Comerford.
Well, he did a great job. Entry pass down low. Defense sucked down inside. The defender got double-teamed. You kick it back out. You find the open man.
3 3-pointers now in this half, and a traveling violation. Another turnover by PCR.
Yeah, nowhere to go there for Stratton. He kind of was ready to pass the basketball, but nobody was open. So just a really careless turnover there for PCR.
Under 4 minutes to play now. Greenwood Christian Academy working on their 9th win of the season to move back to 500 on the year. Certainly a good performance so far all season long, granted being under the tutelage of a first-year head coach in Jackson Williams.
Well, let me tell you what, as that shot was missed, you know, Casey, our producer, only wants to play 2 quarters of basketball, and I said, well, you never know what's going to happen in the second half, and you saw a different Greenwood Christian team in the second half.
Exactly. Stratton will load up a long 3, just a little strong. And another foul as Tallman was going for the rebound.
Well, at this stage, as I mentioned a little bit ago for PCR, and I'm not sure who they play next, it looks like it's Indianapolis Heron coming up on February the 2nd. Their thought process is now, listen, you know what, we didn't play well in the second half, but what did we do in the first half that made a big difference? And that's the part of the film that you're going to look at. And B.J. Johnson and Stratton did most of the work, but they got to get other guys involved. If they do, they probably have a closer game at halftime.
Tallman is the only player that has played that has not scored tonight. Every player on the roster for GCA has seen minutes this evening.
But by golly, he's got 4 fouls, and that got him in the scorebook. You got to get something in there somewhere.
Got him in something. Maybe a couple rebounds as well.
Exactly.
So Tallman misses the front end of that 1-and-1. Back the other side, Johnson tries to get a 3 to fall. That doesn't go. Hayes with the offensive rebound to Stratton.
See, now you're seeing GCA, and now we know they play zone because here's a little 2-3 they put together.
Trying to spin it inside is Newell, and he's able to penetrate that zone defense.
Yeah, that was a nice move inside, but it really was kind of a discombobulated offense because they haven't seen much of a zone. In fact, none tonight.
Comerford now leaves it and getting it back around the horn.
Well, here's where you're patient now. See if these guys that have come off the bench can work the basketball, work a little clock right here, and try to get a good shot and not have to hurry anything at all.
Comerford pulls up from inside and drains it. He's 2 for 2 from the field as the freshman.
You know what? He did a nice job there. The defender flies by him. He turns, looks, nobody's there, hit the open shot.
2 minutes of basketball left to be played. Hayes and Stratton moving it all around the outside. Newell spin move inside. No good. Rebound by Northern.
Yeah, they just don't have a whole lot of offense to work with right now here in the fourth quarter, and kind of watch one guy do all the work and unsuccessful in their last attempt.
3 ball is just a little strong from Bird, and it's tipped out of play and back to PCR. We actually have a foul coming up. It's going to be on Brent Northern of GCA.
Yeah, not a bad look that time, and certainly if I'm looking at Greenwood Christian, and I don't even have to score again, I'm not so sure I just don't bring the ball out. Let's work the clock a little bit. If I get a layup, I'll take it. Other than that, I'm just going to hold on to the basketball.
So Hayes has an opportunity to at least add to his stat sheet tonight. He can't do it on the 1-and-1, but an offensive rebound is taken by B.J. Johnson. He gets the shot to go and draws the and-one opportunity.
Kurt, the only reason you end up giving a rebound like that is you didn't box out. You didn't find your man. A lot of times that's an easy thing to do for the defensive player or the offensive player to sneak around you. You got to really get your fanny in that guy and push him out of there so he doesn't get that easy board and put back.
So GCA gets their 7th team foul. Meanwhile, Johnson is able to convert on the and one.
Now here's where I'm going to work some clock here. You don't need to score again. This game is over at this point. Just go ahead and run some motion offense and just hold on to it. Unless you get a layup, I'm not shooting it.
Tallman being pressured, but now you see Providence Cristo Rey. They may still be inclined to foul here and let this game last as long as they can to at least save a little bit of it.
Yeah, and the only problem with that is I'm just going to tell my team, listen, we're down by 29 points. Let's just play defense. This is something you got to learn and build in future games because this one is over right now, and you don't want to make a foul late in the ball game when it really will count.
Tallman now 0 for 2 as PCR will tip it out of play, and it remains GCA basketball. So once again, the Cougars have a chance to just run some clock here and put this one to bed.
Well, and I'm thinking again, future games, if I have a chance and I need to run some clock right here, I want to know that these guys that I put in the ball game, I can trust them to do that and not turn the ball over and or try to shoot a silly shot. I want to know that I can trust all 5 of these guys.
So it's back now to a 29-point deficit, and props to Providence Cristo Rey. They've been able to avoid the running clock rule this evening. It got to 34, but not quite to that 35-point threshold.
Yeah, and that's a positive, again, that you look at that you can build in the future. And, again, you'll probably do more of that look in the first half than in the second half, but they've kept it to the point where it's still respectable for them.
And GCA takes it right to the hoop. Make it 71-40.
Yeah, nice move to the inside. You got the layup, as we said. If you got a layup, take it. If not, we'll just run some more clock.
Back to a 31-point advantage for Greenwood Christian Academy. Hayes is blocked at the basket, gets his own rebound. It's fought for on the floor, and the Cougars come away with it as we tick inside of a minute.
Yeah, here's where you really don't do anything, and the coach, you can see him on the sidelines, just spread it out, and don't foul at the other end, too, because it really doesn't do any good at this stage.
40 seconds, Tallman tries to put a 3 up right there and can't get it to go. He wants to get in the scorer's book tonight, but hasn't been able to do it as we tick inside of 30 seconds. And now Providence Cristo Rey is not putting any pressure on the defense here for GCA.
I bet you that Tallman heard that crack we made a little bit ago about having no points and 4 fouls. What do you think? I'll show those guys.
Couldn't quite do it, and going for a dunk is Johnson. Instead, it just gets pushed out of bounds, and it will be GCA basketball.
You know, I used to dunk like that. He'd get up there and just throw it, act like you're really dunking. It kind of flies off the rim, It's just
He's trying to save a little bit there, but needless to say, all GCA has to do is walk it up court, and this one will be over as the Cougars will improve to 9-9 on the season, back to 500. Providence Cristo Rey gets handed their 12th loss in a row. They have not won a game this season, and GCA wins on homecoming as they move through the second half of the season. We'll take a quick timeout. Family Source Insurance postgame show coming up next on Indiana SRN.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Welcome back to the Family Source Insurance postgame show here on Indiana SRN. Alongside Troy Darengowski, I'm Kurt Darling. Final score once again from GCA is 71-40. The Cougars get the job done over the Wolves. Well, we certainly thank you for joining us tonight on this one, but be sure to join us for the upcoming games here on the schedule here on the Indiana SRN family of networks. As the Heritage Christian Eagles, they'll be taking on the Panthers of Park Tudor on Monday. That game tipping off at 7:30. My partner tonight, Troy Darengowski, will be on the play-by-play. He'll be joined by Sean Kroll in that matchup. We'll take a look at some quick stats here for tonight's contest. Max Boer, the leading scorer tonight for GCA. He has 21 points. Blake Shoemaker scored all 12 of his points in the first half, went scoreless in the second half. Meanwhile, BJ Johnson for Providence Cristo Rey, he is the leading scorer tonight for the Wolves. He finishes with 14 points. We'll take one more quick timeout. We'll get final thoughts from Troy Darengowski and our player of the game coming up next here on the Family Source postgame show on Indiana SRN.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
I'm Keith Myers, Vice President of IndianaSRN. Thanks for joining us. Do you know IndianaSRN broadcasts 350 games a year? All sorts of sports? Yeah, we do. Hard to believe, isn't it? IndianaSRN loves to put student athletes first on our website. If you're a business out there, we probably could help you too. Contact us at coach@indianasrn.org. Grandma from out of state thanks you. Mom and Dad who can't get to the game thanks you as well. In fact, our athletes watch the games over and over again. Our military has enjoyed the games as well. So sit back and enjoy the game. It's IndianaSRN.
Welcome back to the Family Source Insurance post-game show. Family Source Insurance, we've got you covered. Auto, home, life, and business. Call Pat Cherry to get a quote today at 317-884-8046. Look to Family Source Insurance for all your needs. Email us at FamilySourceInsurance.com. Alongside Troy Darengowski, I'm Kurt Darling. Troy, good win tonight for GCA as they are anchored by Max Boer's 21 points. Needless to say, he's our player of the game.
Yeah, played much better in the second half. And again, the the long halftime didn't bother them whatsoever because they came out clicking. It was a much different team in the second half. Great win for them, and certainly offensively looked much better, and even defensively really did a couple of nice things in that second half.
Not much time to rest here for GCA, as their next game will be against Indianapolis International, their final road game of the season, before they finish their next 6 games at home here for GCA. So that one will be on January 31st, tipping off at 7:30. Meanwhile, Providence Cristo Rey, their next game will be on February 2nd, where they take on Heron High School at 7:30 p.m. Troy Darengowski, it's been a pleasure working with you tonight, my friend.
You as well, Kurt. Good to see you again, sir.
Likewise. For all of us here at Indiana SRN, for Justin Griffiths on our camera, for Casey Pierce, our on-site engineer, for Troy Darengowski, I'm Kurt Darling. Final score once again, 71-40. GCA gets the win over Providence Cristo Rey. You have been watching IHSAA boys basketball action here on Indiana SRN. So long, everybody.